And welcome to the second part of the AFCON analysis. And on this particular edition, we are talking about some of the highlights that took place in the AFCON on week 1. The following are just some of the things that I've already given you, some of the things that we are talking about. And as I mentioned in the first part of this particular show, there was a tweet that was sent out early this week, and it was in regard to the Tunisia versus Mali match. And this is just what that particular said. And have you ever seen anything like it? Referee ends match early, press conferences interrupted as AFCON officials say match must resume, referee changed for final 3 minutes, Tunisia failed to return to the pitch. This particular tweet was in reference to the match between Tunisia and Mali when the central referee, that is Gianni Chikweze, ended the match a bit early, and as a result Tunisia refused to make a comeback to the match, which basically meant that Mali won that particular game. The following is just some of the reactions, social media reactions to that particular incident this past week. And that is Jake Meyers 2015 said, if Tunisia failed to return to the pitch, the win should be awarded automatically to Mali, which actually happened like that. Mali ended up being the leaders of that. That is Nwamanya Anthony says, this is Africa, nothing is impossible. Shilenje, this is Africa, nothing is impossible.
No, this is Africa. You leave Africa and problems to Africa.
Yeah, so there are so many dramas that we ought to expect.
That's Africa for you, and Africa Cup of Nations.
Yeah, there's a lot of drama, but I didn't think that was much of a drama, and I think we've spoken about this. It has happened before, you know, in football. So Shilenje, we're quickly making a segue into some analysis of some of the games that are going to be played this weekend. Just before we get into that particular analysis, one key factor that was missing in this particular tournament was the absence of fans into the stadium. Do you think the presence of fans in the stadium will have probably changed the mood a little bit?
I mean, that's not a question. It goes without any question. Like, the fans' presence in the field changes everything. Yeah. They change everything. You could watch the Cameroon game when they had fans. Yeah. Because Cameroon have been allowed up to 80% fans into their games. The other teams have been allowed up to 60%. And you can really feel the environment, the ambience around the games, what the fans are able to put into the team, because they are usually known as the 12th man. When you're playing against a team that has fans, is the 12th man who is regarded as the fans. So players really miss that push-up, somebody to push them when they are playing. They feel like they're playing just like the normal training. Yeah. And I think it's very unfortunate for Africa, because if you can put into perspective what an Africa fan needs to do to watch that game, really it's a big ask. Because, for instance, if we say a fan for a team like Zimbabwe, from the south, if this fan needs to watch a game for Zimbabwe against Malawi, this fan has to first of all buy an air ticket from Zimbabwe to Cameroon. When they get to Cameroon, this fan need to pay for accommodation. They need to pay maybe for meals. You know, they need to find their own transport to the field. When they reach the field, the regulations from CAF are that a fan attending the match needs to be vaccinated, fully vaccinated. If not vaccinated, they need to return a COVID negative test, like 48 hours before the game. On reaching the pitch, if on that day we are having more than 60% fans attending the game, there's a possibility that this fan might be returned away. So you can feel that there is a very big hassle for this fan to reach actually the stadium and watch the game. And I think these are things that CAF needs to look at, or even FIFA. They need to come out and look for ways to make it easier for fans to attend matches, like we see in Europe. In Europe, there's no big hassle. These fans just take flights from city to city or country to country, or maybe from they take these the fast-moving trains from Munich, maybe to London. They're already there to watch a game. But for Africa, the dynamics are different, because when you need to move from the north to the south, or the east to the northwest, it's a very big hassle for the fan, and the natural factors really doesn't favor an African fan for him to be able to support their team, and is a problem that needs to be addressed, or else we shall have this apathy from time to time in the longest time coming.
Okay. One key thing that contributed to the lack of fans this time round, not only in Kenya, but not only at the AFCON tournament, but even locally, was vaccine apathy. You know, most people have not taken their vaccines because of other reasons, which we leave to professionals who are going to be talking about that. Shilenje, the next AFCON tournament is going to be held in almost like a year from now. What are some of the things that the organizers, that is CAF, need to do as we head into Cote d'Ivoire next year? It's going to be in July, yeah?
Yeah, it's in
July next year. Yeah.
Yes.
So what do they need to do getting into the next AFCON next year?
I think the issues around COVID, they need to really find a very good balance in terms of aligning the issues that have been really preventing people from attending games due to Corona. The Europe have really made it easier for themselves. They already drew the lines, and people have already aligned to them, which has really enabled the fans to come back to the pitch. No problem about that. The issue of testing of the fans and players, we're just lucky that I don't know the mode of testing they're using at the moment in the AFCON, but during the qualifiers we had a very big problem with the home teams in charge of doing the tests. There were so many cases of teams eliminating players that they were positive when they were not. I don't know if it's happening this time. I've not had such outcries. So they need to improve from that. That really these tests are genuine. When you say this player is testing positive and should not play in this match, or the coach should not be on touchline, it should be genuine. Should be true. Then they also need to make organizations like easier things, you know, like the game Mauritania and Gambia. How do you miss out to play a national anthem for Mauritania twice? That is absolute ignorance. How do you miss that? Those are small things.
The players had to sing the national anthem. They had to sing themselves.
And
I guess that refers to the first.
I'm sure most of the some of them were not able, because they live in France. They may not be able to know the local language of Mauritania, because most of their years have been spent in France. And those are some of the kind of shames we can really run away from if we have a good organization. So we need to have a better organization around that, and also the funds, as I've raised earlier, that African games usually lack funds. It's not even only in AFCON. When we play the African club championships and the Champions Leagues, the other league, the lesser league, there are no funds, because funds cannot travel from country to country. They've even forced the format of the African Champions League finals to be played in home and away legs, so that they can enable fans to have a chance of watching their teams, just because funds are not present in the teams. So when there are no funds, it means even the strength of the game goes down. It cannot attract the corporate world, who can come in and sponsor the game and maybe put in more money just to make the game visible. It starts with CAF. They have a lot to do in association with the other FS. So the work is really cut out for them, going to the Ivory edition, what they have to do to make the game much better. Okay.
The other thing that probably people have noticed in this particular edition of AFCON was the use of the VAR from the onset. You know, And like the other time, the VAR was used in the latter part of the competition. I just wanted to quickly get your reaction in terms of the use of the VAR. Are you impressed by the use of the VAR?
So far so good.
Yeah.
So far so good. I can say so far so good. We've not had so many instances maybe where we have disagreements, or maybe they raise some issues of integrity or something related to that. We've not had so far. So far the VAR has been spot on, doing a good job, given that it's the first time it's been in Africa, especially in the group phase. And as I said earlier, there's no single day that football officiating shall be 100% correct. Even with the VAR, we should expect maybe some minor mistakes to pass through it, because it is still controlled by human, and it can never be 100%. But from the performances I've seen so far, VAR on point, CAF on point. Yes.
So there's only, I think for me, there are only small dynamics which need to be tweaked. But I think if those aspects are sorted out, I think at the end of the day is usually the disagreements between the referees, you know, in terms of somebody has seen a foul and then the other referee is like, it's not a foul, you know, there's that disagreement. The same thing that we saw with the Tunisia and Mali. So I think if
for Tunisia and Mali, it should be an isolated incident, because he was not able to listen to the VAR. But the other games where maybe he's like the Cameroon versus Burkina Faso first game, there are two cases where the penalty call had escaped the referee, but when the VAR corrected him, he was able to award Cameroon, and they felt vindicated for the game. Yes.
So far so good.
So far in terms of VAR, Africa on point for the first time. So
maybe Shilenja, as we are switching gears into a pre-analysis of some of the games that are going to be played this weekend. I'm pretty sure we've spoken about Nigeria versus Sudan. That's done and dusted. The other major fixture is Ivory Coast versus Sierra Leone. That's an interesting game, considering how Sierra Leone were able to ward off Algeria in their first match. Very quickly, as we probably wrap up, what's your prediction, or how do you see this fixture stacking up? Ivory Coast versus Sierra Leone.
Ivory Coast versus Sierra Leone. We go into this game. Both teams are on very high confidence. Ivory Coast was able to win their first game against Equatorial Guinea, 1-0. They won even with some of the best players outside. Remember, Pepe was benched, as well as these Crystal Palace, Wilfred Zaha. They were benched, and they were really dynamic players. So it shows you the quality they have. Good for Sierra Leone. They drew against Algeria, but I told you, I'm not sure if the tactics they employed, they're going to work for them again, especially when they're also going to play a big boy in terms of Ivory Coast. They need to be extremely lucky, but I'm sure they are going to try to frustrate Ivory Coast, maybe to play into a draw, but Ivory should have all the muscles to win that game. They should win.
So just quickly, the following are just some of the upcoming matches that are going to be played tonight and the better part of the weekend, in case you missed them. That is, the biggest game that is going to be played tonight is Gabon versus Ghana, Nigeria versus Sudan, Guinea-Bissau versus Egypt, Gambia versus Mali, Tunisia versus Mauritania, Ivory Coast versus Sierra Leone, and Algeria versus Equatorial Guinea. Shilenje, Aubameyang apparently is coming back to the squad, and they are facing the Black Stars, the likes of Akina Ayu, who are battling for glory. Ghana are trying to bring to an end their 40-year drought of the AFCON tournament. How do you rate their performance in the tournament? How do you think Aubameyang is going to impact Gabon going forward?
Ghana, the first game against Morocco, they were nowhere near their best. I can say they underperformed. And from that result, they should be now very hungry as well as angry going into this game against Gabon. The initial meetings, they have only met twice, which each team has won one of the fixtures apiece. So they are evenly matched in terms of their prior records, and it should be a very interesting game. I expect Ghana to be very hungry than they did against Morocco, because if they don't win this game, they might be out. So Ghana should win this game. I feel they have the muscles to win. Yes, Aubameyang might be returning, but I might be sorry to him. I don't know if he'll be able to hold on Ghana, especially when now they want a win. They know everything's not going for them. So for Gabon, it's going to be very hard work for them. If they need to beat Ghana, they need to be extremely at their best and maybe be lucky. But I feel Ghana have the edge to win this game against Gabon.
Okay. So Lenje, those what we've talked about are just some of the things that stood out for me. I don't know what are some of the things that stood out for you this past week in AFCON.
I think the most stunning incident should be the Sierra Leone versus Algeria. Yes, debutants playing against defending champions and being able to hold them. They kept Riyad Mahrez quiet for the entire game, and I think that was a very good performance for Sierra Leone. However, I warned them that if they need to do better or progress to the next phase, when they're facing these other teams, they need to play with ambition and intent to win the game. They didn't do that against Algeria. They just wanted to contain and limit the damage, of which they managed. But for that game, spot on. They were able to get a result. Yes.
Yeah. So maybe any surprises that you're expecting getting into this weekend?
Into this weekend, from the matches we are having, we might have a surprise. Yes, we might have a surprise, especially at the group of Ivory Coast and Algeria. We might have a surprise there. We just have to wait and see, because one of the big boys, if they're not careful, they might drop. Yes. So we have to wait and see, especially the group of Ivory Coast and Algeria, as well as Guinea-Bissau and Sierra Leone. There should be a surprise there. Yes.
Maybe as we wrap up, the following are just some of the reactions of some people in terms of the conversation about the Tunisia versus Mali match, which ended prematurely, and Mali were crowned as the winners. Now, just reading some of your reactions to that particular incident. And here is Anesu Mutisi, who says that particular incident was a disgrace to African football. The other one is by Chris the Genius, says, stop, this one, I think this one was in reference to Sky Sports, stop milking it. The ref forgot to pause his time when they went for cooling break, and that's why he ended the game on the 85th minute. He then realizes his mistakes and adds some minutes, which didn't match the original 90 minutes, but 89 minutes plus some seconds. Shouldn't you, at least we're having a sober theory in terms of what exactly
it's a sober theory, but I tend to agree with the fact that maybe he was dehydrated. You know, the weathers at Cameroon, they are too high. In fact, that's why the AFCON was shifted from January. I mean from July, from summer to January, because at summer Cameroon is totally hot. You can't be able to play. So maybe, given that he was dehydrated, and that is not the case in Zambia, it might have led him to maybe to run for a drink before time. But I think it should not be an incident to warrant maybe we belittling the tournament. It's just one of those maybe unfortunate cases, but so far the tournament has been very well managed up to now.
Maybe as I finish this whole discussion, just a recap of some of the games that are going to be played tonight and this coming weekend. The following are just some of the games that are going to be played. That is Nigeria versus Sudan, Guinea-Bissau versus Egypt, Gambia versus Mali, Tunisia versus Mauritania, Ivory Coast versus Sierra Leone. That's a match that you definitely need to watch out for. And the defending champions, that is Algeria versus Equatorial Guinea. We are going to be back here next week, same place, same time.
And maybe before we go, we need to ask a big question to East Africa. Where are we? Where are we? Let us not restrain ourselves to Kenya alone.
Yeah.
We have Uganda,
Tanzania,
Rwanda, Burundi, Southern Sudan, and even recently Congo. Where are we?
Congo is usually a very strong team. I'm actually surprised
where are we?
They're not in there.
We are nowhere. We're only being represented by the match officials. Congratulations to Peter Kamaku, Dr. Peter Waweru Kamaku, and Isaac Cheriot. They've done a very outstanding job to represent East Africa. But I think the East African football associations, they're really sleeping. They need to do something. There's no way a tournament of 24 teams, that is half of Africa. We lack a team from East Africa, ESC. I mean, do something. Yes.
A challenge to our local league and the whole...
The caretaker committee, do something. We need to see Kenya there. Kenya should be a mainstay fixture in the AFCON.
Actually, one of the replacements for Kenya into this tournament was Comoros.
Oh, Comoros.
Comoros, they beat us. We actually was... If Comoros was not there and we had played well, we would have been there.
I think Comoros is unfair. They could have just left Kenya to go because
they're losing
they're only
matches.
Going there to compete.
Yes. And I think maybe, and we had this conversation with you, fair is the fact that probably they were there is because they allowed fans there, and here we are not.
And we didn't allow fans, which was a big mistake when Kenya went to Comoros.
And also our changing of coach mid-qualifier.
Mid-qualifier
quite affected us.
Exactly. Those are big lessons we need to learn. If teams like Comoros, teams like Gambia, teams like Sierra Leone, teams like Malawi, teams that Mauritania, teams that are very lowly ranked compared to Harambee Stars. We need to be there, man. Let's do something, Kenya. We'll be there in Ivory Coast in July of 2023. We need to compete in AFCON.
Okay. Shilenje, it's always nice having you on the show, man. I usually say that in terms of African football, you're the go-to guy. Your guys, in case you need matters African football, then your resident football senior, we call him senior, resident African football analyst is here. Well, that's all the time that we had on today's edition of AFCON Highlights. Do wish you a fantastic time. Hoping to see you at the same place, same time.